Hi, welcome to this application informational video. Our application is an application that gives the fatalities that occurred on US street highways from 2001 to 2010. As you can see, the application is divided into two clear parts. The first part is the map and the second part is the graph. Let me first show you how the map works. So the only country we are taking into account is the United States. You can go and click or touch the map and move it around the way you would normally pan it, up and down, left and right, or you can use the arrow keys for the same purpose. You can zoom into the map using the plus button on the keypad, or you can also use the pinch zoom as you do on your phones on the wall. The map has three buttons to change its state, from road view to hybrid and to aerial. Finally, the map has a button called graph 1 and graph 2, which would just plot the points which are on graphs 1 and 2. Coming to the graphs. The graphs have many filters. There are two graphs for the purpose of comparison. The first graph has 16 filters, as does the second graph. So to change the filters, you simply click on one of the filters and then add it in the filter values, as I'm doing right now. The selected values can be removed or added as pleased. So here we'll select a person who's not drunk and number of deaths going from 2 to 3 to 2 to 10, and let's say that it's not a holiday on that time. Once we hit apply, we will get values for the graph and it will update soon, as it did right now. As you can see, the graph 2 remains unchanged because we haven't changed the graph 2. To plot these values, the graph 1 values on the map, simply click on graph 1 over here and then you get this cluster. Now let me explain what the cluster is. The cluster is something like a collection of data. So the bigger the cluster, more the accidents that happen there. You zoom in and then you get more clusters. You pan the map and the clusters move around depending on how many accidents there were in that area, or fatalities to be precise. You can zoom in further and you get more clusters. And these clusters are indicative of how many fatalities were in that area. The reason for making clusters is that clusters are better than giving all the information at one time, which would overwhelm the user. You can zoom out, and that is what you can do. One really interesting feature about our project is that once you move around, the graphs update depending on which area you are on. Both the graphs will update because the map is common for both the graphs. So as you can see, the graphs are updating as I move the map around, or even when I zoom in. As you expect, when you zoom in, the area on the map will get shorter. Now let me go and click on a cluster. As you can see, the cluster will give the count of the number of deaths in that area, and then the crash details, that is, there are 111 crashes in this particular cluster. This looks like a small cluster. Let me click on it. There's just 23 crashes in this particular cluster. Let me come back, and once I zoom into a particular level, I get the individual events. Now this is no longer a cluster. These are individual maps. As you can see, there are very few data items here. If I click on one of these, it will give me all the crash details of that particular crash. So as you can see, the date, number of deaths, what the driver age was, whether he was a male or a female, whether he was drinking, what the speed was, and other such information. This is a really interesting feature of our program. Now let me come out and show you the graph 2 points. As you can see, they're color coded to indicate which graph is being shown, so that the user is under no doubt. Finally, to move around, there is a feature called just the way we can zoom into a graph, we can also zoom into the clusters. So click on a cluster and then you get more information about that cluster. As you can see here, since I zoomed into 2004, I get the values from January to December in 2004. I can use the back button to go back, as you would expect me to, and then it would return me to the first value again. I'll go to 2004 again, and then it breaks up into months again. Let me select the month of September maybe. That month will give me day-wise breakup of the accidents that happened. So this is a nice way to sort of drill down into the information using the graph. The filters are very many, and then you can remove the filters one by one just to get more information or less information depending on what you choose. And then finally there is an events tab which will show interesting findings and events from our application. Just click on it and then you get it in text as well as in graph. So let me click on event 2. So this is an event where it is for the entire United States, so the graph is on the entire US. Let's not zoom in too much because that would lose the interesting finding. In the United States, it says that the overall there has been a decline in the fatalities, but here we can see that for bikes and motorcycles there's actually been an increase. The reason for this being that there are many more bike drivers in the United States. And having said all that, I'm going to sign off. To visit our website, you can always go to sites.google.com/site/prk424. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you have a good time. Thank you.